In today's video, I'm going to share with you 7 things I stopped doing when I hit 60, and I'll also explain how these new behaviours are going to be a huge help to me when growing my YouTube channel. When I reached 60, the strangest thing happened. It was almost as if my views on life changed overnight, just like someone had flipped a switch. So these 7 points I'm going to share with you now, 7 things I stopped doing when I reached 60, I didn't make a conscious effort to instigate this transformation in my thoughts and behaviours. I just realised I'd undergone an internal shift that came with ageing. Do I wish I'd done everything on this list earlier? Oh, definitely. But I guess it's just something that only the passage of time can achieve. Let's dive in. The first thing I stopped doing after 60 is caring what other people thought of me. I mean, really, I really don't care now. I've been around long enough now to realise A, that people are just not giving a second thought to me anyway. They're too preoccupied with their own lives. And B, you can't please everyone anyway. Whatever you do, there'll always be critics, so just wave them away and do your own thing. Now, this behaviour is a huge help for me in growing my and your YouTube channel, because one of the main reasons cited why people shy away from starting a channel is fear of judgment, especially from friends and family. For example, previously, when I uploaded anything to social media, I would second guess everything from the title to the image, and I'd worry about how others would perceive and react to it. Now I just trust my instinct and do my own thing. The second thing I stopped doing after I reached 60 was I stopped doing things I didn't want to do. I just said no more. I used to say yes to pretty much every invitation, despite not wanting to do it. I used to worry about upsetting people and didn't feel I had the option to refuse. Even something as simple as going out to dinner. I didn't want to spend my evenings in that way anymore, and believe me, it was taking up a lot of my evenings. So rather than just saying no, which I wasn't completely comfortable with, I'd say something like, evenings don't work that well for me anymore, but I'd love to meet you one morning for coffee. This works really well, and so far no one seems to have been upset by it. Honestly, developing this one habit has freed up so much time for me, and it's time I can now put to use growing my YouTube channel or doing anything else I want to do. The third thing I stopped doing after 60 was I stopped spending lots of time with other people. Now, this isn't for everyone, I know, and personally I love spending lots of time by myself, but maybe you're different. I've always found social situations in groups quite draining. I'm not shy particularly, so I don't dread these things, but personally I just feel at one when I'm spending time by myself. I used to spend so much time in group situations because, yet again, I didn't want to offend or appear standoffish. Not now. Even with my hobby of running, where there are lots of gatherings and groups, which I think is wonderful, I still relish the idea of grabbing my gear and going off on my own into the forest or along the beach. I find that with solitude, I can really think. Ideas come to me readily and I find it easier to plan. It's rare for me to spend a period of time by myself, especially if I'm running, and not to come back bursting with video ideas. The fourth thing I stopped doing after 60 was I stopped thinking it was too late. Society often leads us to believe that after a certain age, it's just too late to start something new, especially on platforms like YouTube. So many times in my life, I've held back from doing things because I thought I'd left it too late, that I was too old. I remember way back when I was 40 and I wanted to start running, but I honestly thought I'd missed the boat. It took me years to take the plunge, and then of course once I'd started I couldn't understand why I thought I was too old. So you are not too old and it's not too late. I'm relaunching my YouTube channel at 63. Come and join me, let's do this together. The fifth thing I stopped doing after 60 was I stopped trying to control everything. I used to have terrible analysis paralysis. I'd just get stuck fretting that what I'd created was just not good enough, and if I could only tweak this and tweak that, and well, of course, I just ended up on that hamster wheel and nothing ever got done. I finally accepted, again post 60, that done was better than perfect, and my behaviour was just going to keep me constantly stuck. Now with my social media, I allow myself to experiment and make mistakes, which is an essential part of the growth process and learning what works and what doesn't. So learn to trust the process and embrace uncertainty. This leads to much better outcomes. The sixth thing I stopped doing after 60, I stopped putting things off. I remember on my 60th birthday realising that my next big O birthday would be 70. 70! I just couldn't believe it. But again, I sensed this internal shift and I became acutely aware of the passing of time. I have younger friends and they say, oh, we'll do XYZ in a few years' time. Nope, I don't have that luxury. I've developed a now or never attitude. This has shown itself in lots of ways, but it's an invaluable attitude for a would-be YouTube creator. I take action more urgently, focusing on what matters, prioritising tasks and setting deadlines. So my message is stop putting things off, start your YouTube channel. The 7th thing I stopped doing after 60 was I stopped comparing myself to others. You might feel this is a similar one to not caring what others think, but it's actually different. Comparing your progress to others will just put the brakes on your progress and enthusiasm. Remember at school, there was always someone prettier, cleverer, sportier than you. It's just life. On social media, I used to see someone upload a similar post to mine and then tie myself in knots because theirs was more polished, their outfit was nicer, their hair wasn't escaping everywhere like mine, their voice was nicer. Stop. Do not allow yourself to go down that rabbit hole. You see, when I hit 60 with all its wrinkles and grey hair and all the other signs of ageing, I realised I could approach it in 2 ways. I could either rail against everything and mourn my younger self, or I could embrace this new journey going forward, this excitement of the years ahead, and not worry about what I look like because it doesn't matter anyway. Now, I don't compare at all. It's my journey and my way. This helps enormously in a space like YouTube. You learn not to agonise about others in your space who appear to be doing better than you. Don't get distracted. Your path is unique to you. So there we have it, the 7 things I've stopped doing since I reached 60, and I know for sure that every single one is going to help me enormously in my YouTube journey. So let me know in the comments below, have you stopped doing any of these things or do you plan to? It's never too late to make changes, and if you'd like to learn to grow on YouTube with me after 50-60, then don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel.